Hello.
Hello.
How's everybody doing? Hanging in there? That extra day off just made you want to have another day off and another day off and another day off. Okay, you should have your adding and subtracting integers assignment accessible to you. Yes? Whether it's on paper or you're doing it on paper or however you're doing it. Electronic, I don't know how you're doing it. You need the adding and subtracting integers assignment. Maybe not right away, but you will need it. All right, it's fun Wi-Fi. It's Tech Issue Tuesday again, I hear from you guys. Wi-Fi issues, camera issues, all kinds of issues. Maybe it's just tech problems every day. I don't know. Okay, so first of all, overall, midterms went well. I'm talking oral midterms because I did not look at your online midterms yet, because they weren't due till yesterday. Okay, so some of you, I think, were like, hey, let's do oral exams all the time. I like the oral exam better than the online exam. Was that anybody? Was there anyone who liked the oral exam better than the online one? Yeah, I suspect. Now, remember, I'm going to look at all those, right? I'm going to look at your stuff. So it's not like, don't think that your score is your score. Now, most of the time, the score doesn't go down. But if you don't follow directions and you conveniently got the right answer, but you don't have mathematical justification for it, I can take off points, right? So because the justification is what's important on that. Okay, so let me get everybody in here. Anyone, is Alyssa here? I don't see Alyssa, I don't think yet. Who else? So it looks like just Alyssa. Okay. T-shirt Tuesday. Anyone have T-shirts to share?
I have a T-shirt to share.
I'm ready.
Okay, so it's a simple one that I found at Walmart, but it says motivator, innovator, believer, and teacher. It was only
Love that one.
Yeah.
I love it. Where'd you get it?
Walmart.
Recently or a long time ago?
It was maybe 4 weeks ago. So
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. I love it. Did you order it online or did you go in?
I just went into the store. I think it was the Walmart in Gilbert, maybe. So.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. Love it. Anyone else have a shirt they want to share?
It's kind of hard to see mine, but underneath all my layer, it snowed a little in Payson, but it's like a t-shirt. It's where I work at. This is our logo, Longhorn logo. This is before we got sued and had to change it. So this is a better one. The new one is ugly.
Why did you get sued?
Texas Longhorns. Like, I think it was like a big college university sued us. We're literally a small town and we're just the Payson Longhorns. And they sued us. And so then we had to put like eyes in it and stuff. And I don't like it. but yeah.
I'm so happy you brought that up, Evelyn, because intellectual property is a huge deal, right? Copyrighted things. So
yeah, I know.
And there's a lot that you guys should learn as teachers about open education resources and what you can use and what you cannot use. You have to be really, really careful. You know, if you just use a graphic from somewhere, most of the time you're fine because we fall under the educator thing, but a lot of teachers are putting things on Teachers Pay Teachers now, right? You better be careful. You better make sure it's your own, right? Before you start making money off things. So be very, very careful. All right. Anyone else have a shirt they want to share? Okay, you ready for mine? Prepare yourselves. Are you prepared? Okay. It's a long one. It says there's a fine line between a numerator and a denominator. Only a fraction will understand. Oh, yes, I appreciate all of those. Yeah, it's true. Love it. And the reason I'm wearing this shirt is we're headed into fractions next week. Yes. I will tell you right now that the final exam is chock full of fractions. It's a huge, huge, huge unit that we're going to do. And the reason is because most of you, it's your favorite part of math, right? I mean, that's actually a little sarcastic. I'm pretty sure it's the opposite of that. A lot of you don't love fractions, and that's a huge problem, right? Because you are the foundation layers of our fraction foundation understanding in elementary school. And if you don't like them, first of all, you probably had a teacher that didn't understand them or, you know, caused something like that. And you just have to be careful. You cannot, like, when you give fraction problems to students, you need to be excited about these fraction problems. You can't be like, headed into fractions. I know they're hard. I know they're really bad. I know you don't like them. It's okay. You'll learn how to change them to decimals soon. That is the wrong attitude to have for an elementary school teacher. Hopefully by the time we're done with our fractions unit, you'll be like, oh, fractions are actually easier than decimals are. Oh, I know. It's crazy. It's true. It's true. Okay, so we're not there quite yet. We have to do integers. We're a tiny bit behind just because we had a holiday yesterday and I slowed down a little bit, but that's okay. The final is everything. But I can test a lot of the things that I already tested you on through fractions anyway. So you're going to feel like it's mostly fractions. Okay. All right. Speaking of which, I know there was a little bit of confusion. Somebody sent me an email. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Alyssa. I can't remember. about the team division problems? Yes? That were due last night? Yes? Some of you are like, wait, it says we were going to start these in class, but then we didn't. But then I don't know. I hope you all did it anyway. Yes? To the best of your abilities, because you turned it in because it was an assignment that was due. Yes? Is there any group that didn't turn it in? Because it was a group assignment, right?
We turned it in, but we accidentally turned it in twice.
That's
So
fine.
we
No
can,
worries.
but it's two different ones. There's like an edited version, but I can talk to you about that after.
Which one is the better one, the newer one or the older one?
Kelsey's, the newer one.
Okay, if it's the newer one, that's the first one I'll look at. So you're good.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No worries. Okay, good. Every group did it. Yes. I'm so excited. Well, I'm seriously considering counting it as extra credit. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? And you're like, wait, I don't know that we did that good of a job on it. But I'm glad that you did it, even though maybe we didn't quite go over every single bit of it, but it was very doable, right? It was very doable. And I'll give you feedback on it still. Okay, so I shared my t-shirt. Anybody else have a t-shirt? I left somebody behind last week and I don't want to leave them behind this week. You all good? I know lots of internet issues today, so I get it. If you have to turn off your camera and turn it back on, whatever, I get it. Okay, let me get to the right notebook.
So I have a quick question before we start. So we're halfway done with this class. What are we gonna like work? When's our spring break? Are we ending before the spring break, or are we like having the spring break and doing it?
Nope, I turn in your final grades on by that Monday of spring break.
Okay.
So we'll take our finals that week before spring break, and then you'll actually have a break for a week.
Okay, cool. That's what I was wondering. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. All right, so take a look at this. Remember we did integer chips last week? What number is represented by the following? Get it ready in the chat, okay? What number is represented by the following? I don't want a number sentence. I don't want an equation. I want just a value. Yes? Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I'm seeing lots of answers. Anyone want to explain to me why they have their answer?
I can explain.
I'm ready, Bree.
Okay, so I started out looking at my negative chips. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that I'm in the -6 range. And then I'm going to look at my yellow chips and I know that I have 4. So I'm going to start counting up, but not down, because that would make it into more of the negative. So I did 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, because you're like adding, but it's like getting you deeper out of the negatives, which gave me a -2.
Okay. Anyone else have a different way of that they thought of it? Not necessarily starting at -6 and adding 4?
So what I did was I started off by counting the positive chips, and I realized that I had 4, and then I counted the negative. So I subtracted, since I saw that, since we know that one positive chip and one negative chip equals out to 0. So I just removed 4 negative chips, which left me with 2.
Yeah. So we're going to call those 0 pairs, right? When we have a positive chip and a negative chip together, they're called 0 pairs since they have 0 value. So then I just have 2 negative chips left. I think some of you wrote +2 on accident. I'm guessing, remember, red was negative, yellow was positive. Okay. All right, so we weren't necessarily doing operations yet. We were just looking at them. Yeah. And if we had the physical chips, we would line them up, right? That's how kids would do it. Okay. So think about right now, warm up. You can do it on paper. You can do it on a whiteboard. You can do it anywhere you want. You can do it with a virtual manipulative. I can put it in the chat again. I want you to show +5, then -6, then -7, and then 3 using 11 two-color counters, -5 using 17 two-color counters, 0 using 6 counters, and then 0 using something of your own. So in other words, when it says 0 using 6 counters, that means 6 total chips. Yes? Okay. So think about that for a minute. I'll get you ready to be in your group so you can compare with each other. But write down all the questions so you have those, or screenshot it. Okay, does everybody have all the questions written down? You don't necessarily have them done, but you have them all written down. Take a picture if you need to. Okay, I'm going to put you in your breakout rooms. I don't think you're going to have any problems with 1 through 3. Okay, so, but be prepared to share all of those with each other and with me. When we come back, I'm just going to pick a random group to share number 4, 5, and 6. And then if you're all fancy, get crazy on number 7. Okay, anyone need the virtual manipulative put in the chat because they like it? Because they want to share their screen and practice using it. Okay, I'm going to open your rooms. Bree, stay here for a minute. Alyssa, you must be on team 2. Is that right? Are you with Karina and McKenna?
I am sorry. I had to sign out again. My Zoom's
No, you're okay. You're good. Did you guys, were you able to finish? Karina says yes. you know, you don't have to come back right away. You always have 60 seconds. So you can always stay in your room if you're finishing up. I give you the warning because some people are mid-sentence.
Mine just glitched out and kicked me out, so I don't
I
really
know
know.
it was weird. All of a sudden, like literally, as soon as I clicked the button, Hannah was here, and I was like, "Okay, Hannah, were you a little antsy to get back?"
But we did finish, so we're good.
Oh, good. All right, and I was grading. I know I still have more grading to do. It's okay. Calm down. I know you want your midterms the most. I got it. I know that. I will grade them as quickly as possible, and I will get your oral midterm grades in as well. But I was grading your team project, right? So your team project, you should have gotten feedback on, except for 2 teams. For 2 teams, I was still waiting on one thing, but I should get that today, and those teams will get their grades hopefully later tonight. Okay, so that was team 1 and team 8. All the other teams I graded. Yes? Okay, and if you ever have a question about my grades, my grading, anything like that, please just contact me, right? Not a big deal. All right, so the ones, did anyone like the virtual minutes? I really like it, by the way. This is one of my favorites. So I don't think we have to show +5. That would be 5 yellow chips. You could show in a different way if you wanted to. -6, 6 red chips. -7, 7 red chips. Notice that I changed from writing the word to writing the symbol. Remember, we talked about how we speak integers the other day. So you'll want to go back and forth with your students. You always don't want to give them symbols or always give them words. That's one of the problems with the greater than, less than sign, right? Students get those confused a lot. We need to go back and forth and connect the words with the symbols for our students. Okay, so how about 3 using 11 2-color counters? Does anyone want to hold up their work or explain it to us? And I'll give you guys like 5 seconds to volunteer, and then I'll just volunteer you. Okay. Oh, good. You just want to be voluntold today. That's fine too. Okay, so we'll use this. I'm going to
Wait,
make
no, I'll do
it.
it.
For you guys. Oh, okay. I'm ready, Hannah.
Okay. So first off, I did 7 yellow chips and 4 red chips. And how I did that was I started out with 3 yellow because that's what we want is +3. And then we need 11 counters. So I subtracted 3 from 11 to get 8. And we need those 8 counters to equal 0. So we divide that in 2. We do 4 red and 4 yellow. That is equivalent to 8 counters and 0 with a value of 0. So that is +3.
So you started out like this, 3 positives. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you did that, basically. You said you did some subtraction, but kids won't be. At this stage of the game, they will literally just be putting chips on the mat, right? Out in front of them. They won't be thinking addition and subtraction quite yet. Remember, you know more than they do, right?
Right.
So you got to slow it down and don't throw them into addition until they're ready, because we identify integers in 6th grade. We don't do operations on integers until 7th grade, believe it or not. Yeah, weird, tricky.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good job, Hannah. You guys give her party hats, something, smiley faces. I don't know, whatever. Okay, so number 5, -5 using 17 2-color counters. You can share your screen. I can stop sharing mine, or you can just hold it up, or whatever you want to do. Or you can tell me what chips to put out on mine. Oh, Vanessa's holding hers up. You might need to pin Vanessa so you can see her.
I did it really close to my other word problem, so it might be a little hard to tell.
Okay, so tell us what you have.
But what I did was I started with the -5 chips, and I kind of did the same thing Hannah did. I did 12 zeros. I added 12 zeros to my.
Did you add 12 zeros? How many chips were we supposed to use?
It was 17, right? For 5? Is that 12? 1, 2, wait.
So 6 0 pairs,
Yes.
right? Which would be 12 chips.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Everybody
Sorry.
okay? Is this what everybody's looked like? I mean, ish, not lined up, but ish. Okay, good. Very nice, Vanessa. Then what's next? 0 using 6 counters. Anyone want to show that one?
I can.
I'm ready, Tyler.
So 0 using 6 counters, you're just going to use 3 0 pairs. So you do 3 sets of those, and that'll give you 6 counters, and they equal 0.
Nice, excellent. Did anyone want to show their crazy zeros using whatever you wanted to? Kids love this, by the way. Like, especially if I have a whole bucket of chips sitting at their desk, right? They'll just dump them all out. And they're like, this one's 0. And I'm like, wait a minute, did you count them? And they're like, oh, no. And that's when it's my favorite part, because I'm like, oh, to prove to me mathematically that you're showing me 0, I need you to show me how they're really 0. And they're like, can you come back? And you're like, sure, I'll come back. You leave, you come back. They literally have like 3 0 pairs out. And they're like, we decided that was too many. So they really wanted me to do more work, but then I turned it around on them so they can do more work. It's super fun. Okay, so you get the idea of this activity, yes? Makes sense. Okay, I know we're having lots of tech issues today. So we talked a tiny bit last week on why or why not we should use the word cancel. That's my least favorite mathematical term. Today, it's my least favorite. I have other ones. Another word begins with an F that I don't like in math. Some people use it. I know you're like, wait a minute, what F word is she talking about? This is exactly what happens when you teach elementary school kids, especially upper elementary, 6th, 7th, 8th grades, and you go, please don't say the F word. They're like, everybody's awake, kind of like that naked word, right? That I said the other day, naked numbers. So the F word is FOIL. Some of you are very familiar with FOIL. FOIL. I don't say that ever. I don't teach that ever. I teach the distributive property, and there's a very specific reason why I don't. That rule only works sometimes. It only works with a binomial times a binomial. And the day I stopped teaching it, because I used to teach it a long time ago, the day I stopped teaching was when a student, we were doing factoring, and I said, can you factor this? And they go, I don't know what you mean. Do you mean unfoil it? And I was like, we're done. No more. We will never say foil again. There's no unfoiling. I don't know what that would even mean. It's factoring and using the distributive property. So yeah, in case you have some of those words in your head and you're like, oh, I love that foil. Like that totally makes sense. Yeah, wait till you teach. And it makes no sense. Kind of like PEMDAS used to make sense to you, right? And now you're like, oh, what just happened? I loved your revelations in your notebooks, by the way, of saying I had no, why am I just learning this right now, right? Yeah, we're building our foundation that should have been built a long time ago, right, with our students. So that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to build a really good foundation. Okay, so you guys really wanted to say this C word, cancel, when you had a positive chip and a negative chip. You were like, ooh, they cancel each other out, right? Remember that? Well, we use that word too loosely. And so this is why I don't like it. This is why it's confusing. 3 over 3, some teachers, some students will say, oh, those 3 cancel. So sometimes cancel means 0 and sometimes cancel means 1. I don't like sometimes rules, right? So that's why I don't use them either time. I say these are additive inverses of each other. So their sum is equal to 0, right? Using all our vocabulary words that we already practiced. This one, I say these simplify to 1 because that's what you're really doing. What you're really doing is 1 times 3 over 1 times 3. And you're saying, oh, these 3 simplify and I'm left with just 1. Yeah. So don't try to stop saying cancel. I know some of you have it in your vocab. It's heavy there, right? It's heavy there. Do not say it. Do not. A couple of you caught it on the oral midterm, right? A couple of you were like, I'm not going to say that word. I wanted to say it, but I'm not going to say it. So be careful. Don't say it. It's really to avoid confusion. You have a nice video assignment on this on Canvas, so it'll go over those notes again. Let's talk about combining with the chip model. So adding, we think of joining, right? Remember our story problem? So we're going to keep that idea. We're going to put things together. We're going to join these together. So model both add-ins, +5 plus +2. And these would be your steps with the chip model, right? Step 1, model the add-ins. Step 2, combine the chips since it's addition. Step 3, count the chips. So now we have 7 yellow chips. I already knew that, right? Because I already could do 5 plus 2 is 7 because those are whole numbers and I already did all that math. So we're good. We know half the integers already because we knew all the positive ones already. We're halfway there. Look at this one. Same idea, but now it's tangible. It's a nice model. So we have 5 red chips and 2 red chips because it's addition. So we're going to model both add-ins. Then we're going to combine the chips and then we're going to count them. Well, if I have 5 red chips and 2 red chips, I have 7 red chips. So my answer must be -7. Nice. So far, so good. I know I'm going fast, but you have all these slides. Just pay attention to me, right? And play along. You can always look at the slides later. Some of you are like frantically writing and you terrify me. So just say, and it's being recorded. You could watch it again, right? Yeah. I don't think you need to do that. Okay. How about this one? Now we have a +5 and we're adding a -2 to it. So it's nice because it's a concrete, tangible model. That's where we're going to start. So we're going to model both add-ins. Again, we're going to put 5 yellow chips, then we're going to put 2 red chips. Now I'm going to join them together because it's addition. What's going to happen here? If I notice, I'm going to simplify by eliminating my 0 pairs. So every time I have a positive chip and a negative chip together, their sum is 0 or their value is 0. So that's why they're called 0 pairs. So now I'm just going to count my remaining chips, which is 3. Do you see how that's different? Somehow I combined things, but my answer, my sum went down. That's a little confusing for students, right? Wait, I'm combining things, but my answer is getting smaller. Seems strange, okay? But they'll play along with you with the chips. They will. They'll play along with you with the chips, okay? They won't even be thinking about it. And teachers who teach this say things like, okay, let's model both add-ins. So all the kids have their own mat and their own chips and they're modeling it, right? And then I've heard teachers say this. Now, clean up your mat, right? Make it as simple as it can be. So they line up all those 0 pairs and then they get rid of them. I'll show you with a virtual manipulative as well, just so you can kind of see it live in action before we do a subtraction 1 and you start crying. Not that that's going to happen. I'm just saying. Okay, so was it +5 and -2? I don't know why sometimes I tap on them and they come out and sometimes I have to drag them. Okay, so that's what I had. Model both add-ins, +5, -2. Join them together since it's addition. And then what's nice about this is my virtual manipulative will make them disappear automatically. What kids will do, just so you know, sorry, let me put these back. What kids will do with their actual math is they will do something like this. And then they will slide those off the mat, right? So when the teacher says, clean up your mat, they will do that. I was trying to mark those chips. Okay. So you can do it either way with the manipulative. So it's really nice. So I hope teachers that are teaching virtually are able to use these ideas, because it's really hard to teach these things online, right? Okay, so any questions about when the signs are different and we're adding? I don't know why I went there. So far so good. Addition is combining. Not a big deal. Same thing if I had negative chips to start with for my first add-end, right? -5 plus 2, I'm just going to end up with -3 instead of +3. Everybody okay so far? Nice. Now, you're probably more familiar with the number line, am I correct? Yeah, than the chip model. The number line and the chip model work great hand in hand, especially because one of them might speak to the child more than the other one. Some kids are like, I like the chip, and some kids will be like, I just like the number line, whatever. That's why you show both models, right? And show how they're connected. So the number line looks a little bit different when we do it. So +5 plus 2. So first I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to model my first add-end. There's +5. And I like to use arrows, directional arrows, so I know where I'm going, okay? And then I'm going to add +2. So I'm going to go to the right 2 more, and I'm going to end up at +7. Same thing with my negatives. If I go to -5 and then I go 2 more, I'm at -7. So far so good. Here's where it gets troubling for students, right? We go +5, so we start at 0 and we model +5. And then I want to add a -2. That's troubling for some. Some of you had teachers that said, oh, whenever you see a negative, you're going to go in the opposite direction. Yeah? Some of you had those teachers. That's fine. I like to say, okay, I agree. Since I'm adding a -2, I'm going to go in the direction, that left direction. And I like to do it underneath so I can see where I am. My number lines should be way bigger. Sorry, they're so tiny. So, and then I would end up at +3. Same thing here. I start at -5, and then I come back to, so I end up at -3. So I think the number line's okay. But do you notice these two get a little bit harder for kids? Why am I changing directions, right? A lot of kids want a practical example. Anyone know what a practical example for integers is that kids would relate to?
Cookies from a cookie jar.
Okay. Yeah, so that you might be able to do that. How about money? Man, kids love money, right? Or they always seem to want money. So if you have $5 and you spend $2, that makes sense, right? That's going away. That's if I have $5 and I spend $2, I certainly don't have $7 now, right? So they might understand that. Now that sounds a lot like takeaway, right? Right, Hannah? And we're going to connect that addition and subtraction. Okay. So, oh, look, I just showed it on here. Nice. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put you in your breakout rooms to do some of the addition problems on your assignment. Yes? Do you notice my disclaimer that your addition problems I want you to do without a calculator? So you have, let's see how many there are. It goes all the way to number 19, right? Is that the end of yours? Is that true? Does it go more than that? Just for the addition.
Oh, it's 5 to 14.
No, I mean, don't you start at number 1?
Or, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess essentially, but those are like word problems too. So those aren't the technical just addition.
They're all addition. That's why
Okay.
it's called adding integers homework.
Ah, look at you.
So numbers 1 to 19 should all be adding integers. And then the next page starts with subtracting integers with number 1. Am I wrong?
I thought you meant like the, like problems, not the actual word problems.
I didn't realize
All
there were
problems.
worksheets. So I was looking at, I was going, what in the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
It starts the number over.
Wait, there's two?
Right, it starts the number over when it starts subtracting. If you look, there should be a header at the top of that page where the numbers start over. Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, I'm a thinker. All right. Okay, so start with number one. I do want to explain number two because that one's usually confusing. Imagine you've received a report of transactions, but one digit was smudged and unreadable. Yes, do you see that one? Determine whether the results would be positive, zero, negative, or impossible to determine. Now, it didn't say find the answer. It just said categorize it, right? As positive, negative, zero, or impossible to determine. So for example, the very first one looks like this. -7 smudge 3 5 plus 4 3 smudge 0. Yes? Anyone know if that would be, remember the smudge covers one digit. That's it, one digit. So does anyone know if this one would be positive, negative, or impossible to determine, and how do you know?
I was gonna say, I think it would be negative because the the -7 dominates over the 4.
What do you mean dominate?
7, I mean, I'm saying that like there's more, like let's say you had like -7,000 and +4,000 and you wanted to move up 4,000 because you're adding it, you'd still be in the negatives.
Yeah, I agree. You can also think of it like this. I'm going to have 7,000 some red chips. I'm only going to have 4,000 some yellow chips. When I simplify by eliminating those zero pairs, I'm going to be left with red chips, right? So my answer is negative. Does that make sense? Everybody understand that question? Perfect. Okay, I'm going to put you in your breakout rooms. You can work separately. You can chat about your answers. I don't care. Just use your work time wisely, and then we'll come back and do subtraction. Okay? I'm trying to get you to get your homework done. Isn't that nice of me? Okay, good. Bye. I'm not leaving. I'm just putting you in your breakout rooms. If you thought I was leaving, I was not. Oh, let's see. Sorry, Sydney. Sarah, you got stuck. Sydney, you got stuck. There we go. Elaine, are you okay? Oh, let me see. Don't join this one. Hold on, let me move you. Oh, are you good? Just a little bit. So for example, Betty was just talking about problems 5 through 14, and it just says, perform the indicated operation without a calculator. Some of you might be thinking in your head, oh, I know when I do 10, positive 10 plus negative 12, I subtract those two and I take the sign of the one that's larger in absolute value. Like that might be your strategy. That might be how you were taught. Totally fine. I'm fine with that. You could write it down if you want, right? 12 minus 10 is 2, and then you put your negative sign on it. That's totally fine. You might start thinking though in terms of chips. You might start thinking, not that you're writing it down, right? But thinking in your head, oh, I put out 10 yellow chips. Then I put out 12 red chips. I'm going to have 10 zero pairs, and I'm going to have 2 red chips left. So my answer is -2. Yeah? Some of you might be thinking, oh, on like number 10, -106 plus -10. Oh, I have all red chips out there. So I'm just going to combine those numbers, 106 and 10, and they're still going to be red because they don't magically change colors. So it's going to be negative 116. Does that help you, what I'm thinking of there? And I want you to try it without a calculator. And some of you are like, I am not turning something in wrong. Like, that's going to bother me. So you're going to go back and you're going to check it with your calculator. First of all, I make more mistakes with my calculator than without my calculator, just FYI, because I cannot type in negative numbers for some reason accurately. I keep making mistakes. But if you notice after you check them all that you made a mistake, I'm not going to take off points for this. Let's say on number 11, you got 13, but you forgot to write the negative sign to make it a negative 13. Don't just erase it or add it in. Highlight it with a different color so you remember that you made that mistake. That's a really important thing for you to do. Correct it, obviously, but show that you did it wrong the first time. So that would be awesome. Okay, so any other questions on addition? All right, don't finish that right now. Stop what you're doing. Everybody look up here. Yeah, I know it's going to kill you right now not to finish, but don't do it because you'll be sad. Okay, so subtraction. What does subtraction mean? This is a fun time to remind students, like, what does that symbol mean? So if you had an alien, someone who has never seen that symbol before, has never seen it, without using the word difference or subtract or any other mathy word, what could you say that that minus sign means? Most of us would say take away. Take away is not very mathy, right? Subtraction or minuses, but when we say take away, people understand that, right? People know what that means. So if we read this as 5 take away 2. Now, that being said, this is a very particular model of takeaway, okay? So instead of modeling both numbers, which were called add-ins in addition, in subtraction, we're only modeling the minuend. This should seem similar to base 10 blocks when we were trying to take away. Yes? Okay. So we're going to model the minuend. We're doing the problem +5, take away 2. Yes? And by the way, is that a +2 or a -2 that I'm taking away? Yeah, it's positive. Thank you. I was reading your lips. Those of you that were like, love it. Yeah. So I have +5, which is 5 yellow chips. Now I want to take away 2 yellow chips. Yeah, that's easy. I have 5. I'm going to take away 2 of them. Guess what I have left? 3 positive chips. We already know how to do that because they were both positive numbers. What about when I have 2 negative numbers as my minuend and my subtrahend? So I have -5, so I'm modeling that. So 5 red chips. Now I'm going to take away 2 red chips. Can I do it? Sure. I have 5 red chips. I can take away 2 red chips. What am I left with? -3. Now some of you are like, wait, is the answer really -3? Because you've always struggled with integers. That's totally fine. Play with the chips. I promise you it will help you. Some of you are like, ooh, I know exactly what's happening. I'm going to do something, 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 whatever. That's not what we're doing right now. Okay? Play with the chips. So the answer is -3. Here's where it gets a little fishy. So be aware of this. We want to model the minuend, +5. We're trying to take away, because it's subtraction, 2 red chips. Do I have any red chips to take away? No, I only have 5 yellow chips. Remember when we learned 0 pairs? I can put 0 pairs out and I don't change my +5, yes? So I'm going to add 2 0 pairs. Why 2? Just because I knew that I only needed 2 red chips to take away. Could I have added more than 2 red chips? I mean, 2 0 pairs. Yeah, I could add as many 0 pairs as I want. It doesn't matter. Because when I simplify it, I'm going to be good. Okay, so I'm going to do this problem live, okay, because I think it's worrisome to people. So, but you have to remember the problem. 5 take away -2. So let's start over. +5. I'm modeling the minuend. positive 5. I want to take away 2 red chips. Do I have any red chips right now? No. But I can do this. Am I still showing positive 5? Yeah, I am. Haven't done anything. Do I have 2 red chips to take away yet? Not yet. Am I still showing positive 5? Yeah. Do I have 2 red chips I can take away now? I do. I'm going to take them away. I took away 2 red chips. What's my answer? Positive 7. I can see it, right? Do you see how it's very tangible? A little weird with those 0 pairs, right? We all agree, a little weird, but it makes negatives tangible for me. Now, some people are like, wait a minute. I took away negative values and it increased my answer. That seems weird. In take away, I usually decrease my answer, right? But this time, since I was taking away negatives, I increased my answer. That actually makes a lot of sense, right? If you remove an expense, you actually get more money, right? Yeah, okay. So here's another one. If I have negative 5, take away 2. Now be careful. That's a positive 2 I'm trying to take away. Yes? So I modeled 5 red chips. I don't have any yellow chips to take away. So I add 0 pairs till I have 2 yellow chips to take away. Now I can take away those yellow chips. What am I left with? 7 red chips. Tricky? It's tricky. Okay, the number line model. How many of you used the number line model for integers before? Some of you. So I think this one's fine. 5, take away 2. So we do positive 5. There we are. Then we're going to take away 2. We end up at 3. No worries there. Now, how about here? I'm going to go negative 5. Then I want to take away negative 2. Take away would mean I usually go to the left. But now, since I'm taking away negative, I'm actually going to go to the right. This is tricky in my brain. My kids had, so I am going to actually increase my sum. So I'm going to get negative 3. My kids had a teacher who did this. Whenever you hit this symbol, you change directions. Did any of you have that teacher? Yeah, a couple of you. So my kids did this. Okay, they know a negative 5, so they went to the left. Then it said, turn around, turn around. They were very confused. My kids did not do well with that. So the number line, it can be tricky. Same thing here. Now, we'll talk about what we do next after that. So positive 5, take away negative 2. That's going to increase mine by 2 more. I actually get positive 7, negative 5, take away 2. That's going to put me at negative 7. Weird, weird. On the number line, you can see how it's confusing. Some of you didn't like the chips. And you're like, wait, now I have to add 0 pairs. Now you're like, wait, I don't like the number line either. Yeah, it's problematic. We're going to talk about a solution. So before we talk about our solution, let's talk about the return of the sweater scenario, because some of you got that far in your subtraction packet, right? And you're like, I don't know what that means, return of the sweater scenario. So we used to have checking accounts, this amazing thing. Now we just have debit cards, right? But some people still have checking account. I mean, your checking account is part of your debit card. So money is a nice relationship to this. So you bought a sweater for $50. After you purchased that, you have $150 in your account. Okay. So you already bought the sweater and then you have $150 in the account. You return the sweater. It doesn't match your eyes after all. To the store. What does that mean mathematically? Okay. So notice in way A, oh gosh, I didn't mean to scratch that out. I thought it was a highlighter. In way A, I start with $150. Way B, I still start with $150. Okay. I think we all know that somehow we're getting $50 back, right? So we're increasing our bank account by $50. This way seems very obvious. I add $50 to my account, right? Because I go to the store, right? And they give me $50 and I put it in my bank account. Yeah. But that doesn't really happen anymore. Did you notice that? What really happens is you had that expense of subtracting $50 in your bank account, right? And when you go back to Target and return it, they put it back in your account, right? Using your card. So what they're doing is they're taking away that negative charge. Removing the negative charge still creates a addition in my account. So do you see how this right here says I'm removing the $50 charge? That's what this is saying. But the greatest part of this is either way, we know we have $200 in the account. But this connection here helps with what you guys learned as a shortcut. Yes? Whenever you see this, I've had so many students tell me this. Whenever I see those two together, I'm supposed to go like this. How many of you have heard that? That's a trick. That's a shortcut. We need to build the math behind it so students understand why those are equivalent. Yes? And this return of the sweater scenario helps you understand why removing a negative actually increases your balance. Yeah? I like to use budgets, right? We don't do enough fiscal responsibility in our K-12, in my opinion. So I have a monthly budget, right? I have how much money comes in, and then I have all these expenses. And these expenses subtract, right? They're negative values, right? So one of my expenses is a cat, right? So let's just say my cat costs me $35 every month. So I have that subtracted from my account all the time, every month, $35. And then let's just say my cat runs away. Yeah, we'll go with runs away. My cat runs away. What happens to that $35 expense? Anyone?
It's gone.
It's gone. I just got $35 more, baby. I mean, I'm sad about the cat, kind of. But I just got $35. Yeah. So removing an expense increases my balance. Yeah. So that's why subtracting a negative is actually the same as, you guys heard this a million times, adding the opposite. Yes. Okay. So that's the return of the sweater scenario. So when you do that problem on there, write an actual problem, like for, you know, what happens? You have a balance of what in your account after. It doesn't have to be a sweater. It can be a cat. It can be whatever you want to buy, right? But use the idea to explain that. Okay? Questions about that? Okay. I know we didn't have time to do your subtraction problems because that's all that was left. Look, do your subtraction problems. This assignment's due tonight, yes? Is that true? If it takes you longer than 30 minutes, you need to come see me because it should not. You guys had like 8 minutes in your room and you were almost done with the addition, right? So it should not take you that long. But take your time. Make sure if you have any questions, you let me know. We got a big week. Yeah, there's one really important thing that I cannot impress upon you enough right here. This assignment right here. Prime versus composite Eratosthenes sieve. It is due Wednesday night. be sure you do it. You need it to understand what we do in class on Thursday. Okay? So make sure you do that Wednesday night. And I think I was extra nice to you this week and to myself. No discussion board this week because we had to recover from midterms. I still have to grade all those. So yeah, we'll do a discussion board next week. It'll be a fun one. Okay. All right. I'll put the exit ticket. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to make you dizzy right there. Questions, concerns, anything? All right. Sorry, I lost my chat. It's gone. Most people are using the QR code, I think, anyway. But here you go. Tomorrow, you are going to need a handout. I'll email it to you. Okay. I'll email it to you. You can access it electronically. I don't care. But you're going to need it for class. Or you're going to have to write a bunch of stuff on paper. So you could pre-write some of it. How's that? All right. Happy Tuesday. Hey, did you know it was Fat Tuesday today? It is. I mean, even though Mardi Gras canceled, but Ash Wednesday is tomorrow. Just so live it up today. I'm gonna have tacos and ice cream, Hannah. Not together. Not together.
I had a question.
I'm ready.
It's not like a math question, but can you, if you're on a Mac laptop, can you screen share your iPad on your laptop?
That is a good question.
In my group meetings, I want to like screen share my iPad because I write everything on my iPad.
Yeah. So if you're on your iPad and you want to share it to your laptop.
Yeah.
I always do it the other way. So I bet if you just swipe down, if you have screen mirroring set up, so my laptop doesn't show up. I'm not sure. I bet I'll look it up and see if I can reverse it because that would be a nice thing to be able to do. I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
You can do it the other way easily, right? If you're on your laptop, you can screen share your iPad. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
So if you're on your laptop, just go to screen share. Here, you can do it right now. Let's do it right now. Let me stop sharing mine. 1 minute. Okay. That's what I do every day. So go to, on your laptop, click on share screen, the bottom middle, and then the 4th choice to the right says iPhone/iPad via AirPlay. Does that choice come up for you?
Allow Zoom to share your screen, open system preferences. Why won't you let me?
Is iPad not a choice on yours?
Hold on 1 second. Oh, it's gonna make me leave the. Hold on.
That's weird. She said it's gonna make me leave, and then she was gone. Hi, McKenna. How are you?
Good, how are you?